tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Tell You What, the podcast. My name is Mike, and here we are at episode number 64. How about that? And what can I say about our guest for this one? Steve Poltz, musician, songwriter, tale teller, post-stroke deadhead, etc. Steve has been at it for a while as a musician and songwriter. In his early days, he wrote several hit songs on Jewel's multi-platinum album Pieces of You. He's recorded a slew of albums of his own material, played thousands of shows, and he continues to be sought out as a co-writer by the likes of Molly Tuttle and Billy Strings. Let me start out with this note. I'd been pursuing an interview with Steve for a year or so, ever since I saw him perform for the first time. Not sure what took me so long, but anyway. When I eventually spoke with his manager about it, at one point he said to me, "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to record the interview, and when you're done, you're going to call me back, and you're going to say, 'That was the best interview I've ever done.'" And, well, I don't like to use the superlative form. I have many great discussions here on the podcast. But this was certainly one of the most enjoyable, wide-ranging, ultra-wide-ranging, fun, and easiest conversations I have ever had for this little show. Steve and I had crossed paths at a number of events over the last year, and we were finally able to sit down together at the awesome DelFest Bluegrass Festival in Cumberland, Maryland. I met up with him after his set on the big stage at DelFest. A set he began by running laps around the very large stage before his first song. He finished his set by working his way out to the audience. In order to get out there, he had to go backstage, down a bunch of steps, around the side, and climb 2 fences with his guitar, where he led an acoustic sing-along surrounded by hundreds of fans, all joining in on the Grateful Dead song Ripple. What a treat it was to spend some time with such an interesting, joyful, energetic, and talented artist. Steve tells us some great stories, tells us about storytelling itself, and he gives some great insights into how he learns from other great songwriters and how his practice routine involves playing songs over and over again. If you want more of these type of creative insights, you should consider attending his songwriting retreat, the Steve Poltz Song Factory, at the end of August in upstate New York. This will certainly be a blast. I'm currently scheming to see if I can work it into my schedule. Here's the impression of Steve I walked away with. We had a great chat, spent a bit of time hanging out before and after the interview. In these conversations, I brought up a handful of his songs that I really liked. The next day, Steve had another set at the festival at a smaller stage. Steve talks about not using a set list, just playing what he feels, and he knows hundreds of songs. During this 1-hour set, he managed to play all 5 of the songs I had mentioned. And when he played his song, Let's Stay Together, and he got to the line about the dozen eggs, which we talk about in this episode, he found me in the large audience and caught my eye. And when I saw him briefly after the show, the first thing he said was, "Oh man, I ran out of time to play Skyway," the replacement song I said I had loved. He said, "I'll get to it next time, I promise." Steve does interviews all the time, meets tons of fans. Yet he managed to make me feel like I had a private performance. It was pretty awesome. So as I mentioned in the episode, I cannot recommend the Steve Poltz live show enough. I've now seen him play 5 or 6 times, and while each was completely different, they were each a compelling, entertaining, sometimes hilarious experience, and I look forward to getting to more of his shows whenever I can. A couple of notes. First, I misspoke at one point and called Country Dick Montana, the legendary member of the Beat Farmers, by the wrong name. My humble apologies to the memory of the late, great Country Dick. Secondly, while recording this episode in the campground of DelFest, in the infamous Prowler trailer, my trusty old Dell laptop got overtaxed, and the audio quality of the recording suffered. Through a sequence of technologic wizardry, both human and AI-powered, we were able to restore the sound to a listenable quality level. It is a bit rough and inconsistent in spots, but please stick with it. This conversation is worth the effort, no question. For the record, I'm recording this introduction on my new high-powered MacBook Pro to avoid this ever happening again. I'm going to end this intro with a clip from Steve's song, Wrong Town, as a way of allowing him to musically introduce himself in the episode. He does a nice job of it. And now, please enjoy this Tell You What conversation with Steve Poltz.
You're about to watch a show starring me. I don't know what you're about to hear or see. The truth is I have no plan at all. There's a good chance that off this stage I'll fall. My body ain't quite what it used to be. My hair ain't the color it once was. My style icon is Emmylou Harris, mixed with a little Don Was. I lie on stage, I lie in songs, I lay my troubles down. Hey, stick it out with me, kid, I mean, what else is there to do in this godforsaken, deep-fried bacon town? Yeah, you bought the tickets, you paid the cash, you got in the car, you moved your ass. You brought a friend or an awkward date to something you love that they're probably gonna hate. It's music, sweet music. I'm emo, I'm screamo, I'm country and I'm folk Americana. If you wanna, I'm old-fashioned, but I'm woke. I'm everything to everyone, I'm Jesus and I'm Buddha too, don't panic. I'm organic, I'm too scared to be satanic. But mostly I'm just here to sing for you.
All right, let's do this.
All right,
Let's get into the weeds.
let's get into the weeds. Steve Poltz, welcome to Tell You What, the podcast. Thanks for joining me here at DelFest. We're in the Prowler trailer, the infamous Prowler. It comes equipped with a jar of cookies.
Now, these are like gluten-free or
They're
something?
everything free, but supposedly very tasty. What do you think?
Hey, they're really good.
Yeah. My sister made those.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm going to tell you what's actually in them.
I'm tripping.
But yeah, we're here at DelFest. You've played here before. Isn't this a great festival?
Yeah, I didn't remember when I played here, but I was told it was 3 years ago, I think.
Right after COVID.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought I hadn't been here since 2018.
Well, you were telling me you play a lot of shows.
Yeah, so I can't always remember. Like, I have people show up and they go, this one guy showed up recently. He goes, dude, I used to see your band, the Rugburns, in San Diego, bro. And I remember one time you had a live parrot inside your shirt and you pulled it out on stage. And I have never held a parrot in my life.
As far as you know.
Yeah, I don't remember this ever happening, but he swears I had a parrot inside this shirt and that the parrot flew out. I was like, no, I've never even held a parrot as far as I know.
So I want to give you a chance, if you would like, so I don't forget later, you have a songwriting workshop coming up. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's in, well, I don't remember when it is.
It's in the summer. I know that. Late August, maybe.
Yeah, it's called, what's it called? Steve Poltz Song Factory.
It's called Steve Poltz Song Factory.
And it's in Woodstock, New York. And it is, I'll tell you right now.
You got Mary Gaucher's going to be there?
Yeah, and Bob Schneider and Ryan Montbleu.
It sounds awesome. I might go.
I think you should. It is, August 26th to the 29th at the Full Moon Resort in Big Indian, New York.
People can look that up online and
Yeah.
attend your. It should be a lot of fun.
And all levels, all ages. And then your meals are cooked for you and they have housing. Nice housing, or you can camp if you want. If you're so inclined, maybe you could take the Prowler that we're sitting in.
Maybe we could take the Prowler.
The Prowler would be cool to have there.
And these cookies, too.
Bring the cookies, the Prowler, your sister,
Yeah.
and your shoes. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad we got to talk about that. Let's go back in time just for a brief second. Halifax, Nova Scotia, you were born.
Yes.
Moved to San Diego, right? Early.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any of Nova Scotia still in you in terms of your music, your creative process, or were you too young?
I would say through my parents there is, but I'm very much a Southern California kind of beach dude. But I feel a kinship to Halifax and to Nova Scotia. They love their kitchen parties and they have music and they're rambunctious and rowdy and they love to laugh. They have a good sense of humor.
They have the Kayleys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of friends up there and that makes it really fun. So yeah, I like it a lot.
Great. So, but musical life really was San Diego. We're about the same age. There was a surf punk scene in San Diego, right? Beat Farmers.
Yeah. The Beat Farmers were the true, I don't know the word I'm looking for, some kind of country, cowpunk country.
Cowpunk, yeah.
Yeah, the Beat Farmers were like one of the originators of that whole scene. And they would play shows at the Blasters and with Los Lobos and X.
Yeah.
But the Beat Farmers, for my money, were the best. I mean, I loved them all. You can't really say somebody's the best.
Yep.
I just mean, I just loved them.
Can I tell you my Beat Farmers story?
I would love to hear it.
It's pretty good.
Please.
I was a fan of the Beat Farmers. I was living in New York City at the time after college. This is like 80s. We go to see the Beat Farmers with my friend Jim, who was visiting from like North Carolina. It's first time in New York City. We go see the Beat Farmers. It's an awesome show. I think it was at the Ritz or maybe. Country Dick Montana. It's going nuts. He comes out in the audience. He's knocking people's beers out of their hands. Everybody loves it. After the show, there's like, they're selling their record. My buddy Jim buys the record, sees Cowboy Dick there, says, "Would you sign my album?" And there's a Sharpie. Dick grabs it and signs it, and Jim walks away. We're walking out, and he looks at the record, and it says, you know what it said? "Fuck you, Country Dick Montana." On the album. He put it up on his wall. It was a very prized possession.
Yeah, Country Dick, he was my teacher. He was one of my teachers, as was Mojo Nixon. I used to go see the Beat Farmers in San Diego where they lived, and those shows were like, that was my college. It was an education. Yeah. And he would come in and see my band, the Rugburns. We were just a duo at the time, and he really was like a teacher to me. And he was so charismatic and larger than life and also really smart and funny as all get out. Yeah, I loved him.
Yeah.
I think the reason I liked them so much is because they had such a sense of humor.
Right.
And I liked my punk funny. I think like there's a place for all kinds of music. So just for me personally, I was always drawn to like Loudon Wainwright and stuff like that. It always kind of got me going. And Randy Newman.
Yeah.
And John Prine.
You lead me to one of my other questions. And we're going to jump ahead. Let's talk about the use of humor in your songwriting. Maybe that's something you say you learned from watching the Beat Farmers and those guys, but you're naturally such a funny, entertaining person. How do you think about the balance in your songwriting of entertaining with your wit and your funny lyrics, but balancing that with getting the message across of the song and not having it just be one big joke, right?
That's a balancing act, and it's something that I'm still working on, and I don't know that I'll ever get it right. Last night I played a show in Wilmington, Delaware, at this place called Arden Guild Hall. And they had just had Ricky Lee Jones. They've had Richard Thompson. Like their lineup is just really stellar. And man, I had a really good show last night. And I think I really tapped into the balance. Sometimes I get the balance right. Other times I haven't gotten the balance right and I've gone too over the top, and the crowd might have liked it, but I don't feel good about myself because I feel like I just like could have hewed a different direction closer to what I was feeling. I may have like pandered too much. Like I used to play in really rowdy bars and I didn't want to lose the audience. So I had to learn, how do I keep their attention? Do I pull my pants down on stage, which I did several times? Do I get naked on stage, which I did? And now I mean, I don't do that anymore really that I can think of, but I had to learn and it was fun. I'm not And some people probably are like, "What? He was better when he was drunk or something."
Better when he was naked. Yes.
Yeah, because everybody has their favorite version of you.
Yes.
And like last night, I was doing songs from like the '90s. I don't know why, because I never use a set list. I just started and playing these songs, and it just felt right. And it's just like I'm chasing a rabbit, and wherever my thoughts are going, I just want it to be real. And I'm learning to just be true to myself. But I never want it to be boring either. Like, so you could go too far the other way, or for me personally, I mean, and not say anything, not tell a story. And I've tried that. I noticed people got mad.
They want the stories.
You didn't even talk.
Yeah.
You know? And it's funny.
How about within a song, trying to put in the humor as a method of getting the message across and that balance? Do you ever think about that?
I've done that a lot. Yeah. Like in the middle of a song, just break off. And then it's like, it's really meta. And you're talking about what's happening right now. Yes. Yeah. I love that. I've always loved that because that's part of the balancing act. And I like to see, am I able to pull this off? Lately, I've been really into fitting other songs into my songs. So like songs everybody would know.
Yes.
Just like a couple lines or verses.
That's pretty good skill.
It's crazy what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, I think I might try that tomorrow if I can remember.
I'll remind you from the audience. Let's go back again. You picked up the guitar at some point and when you were young.
Was songwriting always there from the beginning, or did you come to that later?
Way later.
Yeah. So you're playing cover songs, and
Yeah.
you had bands that were cover bands. That
Well,
was
like I started playing classical guitar, so
Right.
I would learn classical pieces, finger picking. And so I got pretty good at that. And I was playing in a Mexican restaurant in San Diego.
play classical music.
Yeah, just playing classical guitar. So I'd have sheet music out and I'd be reading the music and I'd be sitting in the corner, very unobtrusive, just while people were eating. And, you know,
I'm having trouble picturing you being unobtrusive playing
Yeah.
the guitar, knowing
I was like 19 years old and I'm playing these pieces and not saying a word, just very demure and just finish the song and maybe a couple of people would clap like out of guilt. But I didn't care because I would do 2 sets and play like 4 hours of guitar a night. You would get really good some
Yeah.
nights because when you first do it, you're nervous. And then the more you do it, the more it becomes a natural, just your natural habitat. Like for me today, I just played a show on the grandstand stage. It's called the main stage. In the old days, I would have been freaking out. And in fact, not only am I not nervous, I'm almost sleepy. So I need to go out and do something that's going to make me wake up and give me a jolt of energy. It's really weird how at home I am on stage now versus how I was years ago, because years ago I would die 1,000 deaths by paper cut, just like,
being nervous.
yeah. And I would be so nervous and I wouldn't be having fun. And all I'd be thinking was, this audience hates me. Like just these negative thoughts coming into my head. And why can I play this so good when I'm alone in my room? And now I'm panicking. And I just feel like now I'm so glad that I'm where I'm at now. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like, if I'm still alive, God willing, 5 years from now.
I think you'll be around. How did you get from playing the guitar in the Mexican restaurant, the classical guitar, to writing songs?
So I had made up songs when I was a kid for my dog, and I used to sing to my dog, and I would make up songs, but
Did your dog like the songs?
loved.
Yeah.
But the songs that when I really started trying to write, like when I was 19, I was listening to maybe Jackson Brown, The Pretender, that record. And I'm like, God, I want to write songs like that. But
Pretty high goal.
yeah. And I just couldn't. And the songs were they weren't good. And I was lacking something. And I was trying to write a song and be like him or something, or like James Taylor. And I just couldn't do it. And then one day I wrote a song called Single Life, a Rugburn song, and everything changed. And I realized, oh, this is my voice. I have something to say in my own quirky way. And if I can tap into that, but then it was elusive. I wouldn't be able to do it again for a while. I didn't know why. It's songwriting's like a horse. Don't spook the horse, like Neil Young says.
Yeah.
You know, like don't spook the horse. And it's a muse, and also it's something that's a muscle that you need to work at. So it's not always easy.
But once you wrote that one song, that was kind of a breaking point for you. You saw what you were capable of, or you saw the way forward.
Yeah, and you know what taught me it was the audience, because I was playing in a bar. It was a rowdy bar, and we were doing all these, we would do Beatles songs and Creedence songs, and we were covers, which I think is great. I think if you can learn a lot of cover songs, it's really good. This is my humble opinion, is all it is. It's good because through osmosis, you're learning these chord changes. Yeah. You're playing somebody else's song. And these songs are at a high standard. If you're, you listen to a lot of stuff and people are turning you on to maybe the Replacements or something. You're listening to a Paul Westerberg song. And then you're like, wow, if I could ever write a song like Skyway, that would be so neat, And
one of my favorite songs in the whole world. You played it last night. I missed it. You got to play it tomorrow for me.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
I played Skyway, and I hadn't played it in years, and I don't even know why I did it. And I played it, and, learning these songs and learning like a Townes Van Zandt song or something, or a John Prine song, the more you go on and you go down these little rabbit holes and you're listening to really good songs like by Elliott Smith or something. And gosh, it really seeps into you, hopefully. And then you keep trying to write songs. And then.
So you're saying that just by learning these songs, it's getting inside you and it affects your creative process. That the good parts of those songs are becoming part of your process, and they find their way into what you do.
Yeah. Like if you take a song like One of These Days off the album Old Ways by Neil Young. And so you listen to it and you're like, oh, wow. One of these days, I'm going to sit down and write a long letter. He's going D to B minor to G. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And I'm talking like you're a younger songwriter. You don't know this. You might know C, F, and G or something. Oh, that's cool. All from the D to the V minor to the G. And then you learn the song. And not only do you learn it, but you get inside the song. Yeah. And what I mean by that is you play it 100, 200, 300, 400 times till you're not thinking. And when you're not thinking, you cease thinking, and the song becomes a part of your soul, and you're actually going, the sentiment is so beautiful. So then you're like, one of these days, I'm going to sit down and write a long letter to all the good friends I've known, and I'm going to try and thank them for all the good times together. Though so apart we've grown. And then he goes back to the D. One of these days. And then he goes the A minor rather than the B. He goes, I'm going to sit down and write a long letter to all the good friends I've known. It goes down to the E. And so you're just going, wow, if you learn that song and get inside it, it's going to make you a better songwriter. I don't know how, but there's going to be a way that it's going to, because that's just flat out great songwriting. Yeah. And it's simple. And he's doing a sentiment that we've all felt. I'm going to write a long letter to all the friends I've known. I'm going to try to thank them for all the good times together. So plaintive, just so simple, yet so perfect. At really just whittling something down and getting to the essence and the core of it. Yeah. Sometimes the best songs are so simple.
I've heard you say that you play your own songs 200 or 300 times to get to know them. Is that actually?
It's true. It's almost like, and I don't mean this to be, I don't want to say it, have it sound like I'm making fun of something, but it's almost spectrum-y in a way when it comes to music, where I will play that song hundreds of times so that I'm not thinking. And then when I'm on stage and I'm playing it, I'm actually inside the song and the song's inside me. And I'm not even being woo-woo when I say that. I mean, and then sometimes the song is so new, you get a rush off of it because you're scared, but you have played it a lot at home. And I mean, like, there's no rule to this. This is just what works for me. Like, that's the great thing about this. There's no rules. I can't sit here and tell somebody listening, you need to do this, because you might not need to do it. I just learned.
I wouldn't have the successful, I shouldn't say successful. I wouldn't have a fun podcast interviewing all different songwriters if there were rules about how to do it the right way.
Yeah. So I can only do what works for me and what I've learned that's tried and true. And that is getting inside the song so that when I'm on stage, I'm not thinking, oh, that guy in the front row hates me. Why does my guitar sound weird? I don't like my voice. All these negative voices that I personally have had, and I've had a lot of them, where I've played shows before and left my merch at the club and never went back to get it because I was so embarrassed by how poor my performance was. My hands were shaking. And I end the set early and I just leave because I'm disgusted. And then just when I think I'm done with it all, something good happens and I get that high. And I'm still searching for the high of the performance and the song. And I'm addicted to the high. But man, it's not always there. But my batting average is a lot higher now than it was back in the day.
So contrasting that 200 or 300 times, I have seen you play shows, and I know you say things on stage that may stretch the truth a bit. But when you say, I just wrote this song last week, and I got to play, because you did that today with this Sierra Hull. I shouldn't admit that you played this song because it's a secret. But let's go back. I saw you play another show recently in Montreal, where you played a song you said it was a dream about a conversation you had with God.
Yeah.
And God was speaking in a very high voice and complaining about his
It's called the Son of God.
because his cable bill he had to keep paying cable even though he forgot to cancel it. These are relatively new songs that you're bringing to stage pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now that song I should have played. I'll play it tomorrow. I did it last night. So that's called the Son of God. It's a conversation between me and Jesus.
And Jesus has a very high voice.
Yeah, and I had to read it. Did you see it at Focal Alliance?
I did.
Yeah. So I finally memorized it. That song forever was hard to memorize because it's a conversation. It's so much better now than it was when I was in Montreal. However, doing it in Montreal was like smoking crack because I was scared and it gave me this rush. Like when you smoke crack, and I'm not telling people out there to smoke crack ever, but
Be clear about that.
yeah, don't ever do it. But when I did smoke crack, I went MIA for like 3 straight days. And all I know is it was like in that show Breaking Bad where the sun goes up really fast and down really fast. However, when you do the crack, it's like this unfiltered thing where it's like your head's exploding. And so
Back to Montreal,
doing this Son of God, that sauna, that was kind of like smoking crack in a way because I was scared and I was shaky, but I knew I wanted people to hear this song. However, now that I've finally got it memorized and you'll see it tomorrow, it's better. Although it was good back then because people sense the trepidation in your voice and they sense the fact that they just sense the fact that this is so new and you're scared.
Yeah, people appreciated the newness of it. I think like he thought enough of us to play this thing for us right now. Yeah.
I have to always do something on stage that kind of scares me. Like something like today I played a Norman Blake song, Church Street Blues, that I've not played. And I was like, Tony Rice does the definitive version of that song. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And it wasn't great, but I did it. It was pretty good. It could have been better.
Yeah. So you try and push yourself some way every show?
This is a bluegrassy festival.
Yeah.
And so for me to even attempt doing Church Street Blues, it's a ballsy move. But I did it because I was mainlining crack. And I wanted that hit, and I wanted to scare myself because it wakes me up. And I like danger. One time I was in New York, and our wife was like, "You're going to get hurt the way you run around stage. You're going to trip over a chair."
You almost pulled a hamstring today climbing into the audience.
Yeah. And I was singing This Land Is Your Land, and my wife was in the audience. I was in New York City, and then I wanted to mock her. So I said, "Look at me now. Look at me." And I was running backwards, and I made a full lap. And then the second time I fell over a chair, and I broke my middle finger on my right hand. This finger, the flip-off finger that you flip people off with. I broke it. It went sideways, and I bent it back, and I had to go to the emergency room, and I couldn't use that hand. So things have happened in my life where I have to learn lessons. I'm a reckless person, and my own recklessness has cost me a lot. It's caused me a lot of troubles, but it's also is what has given me a career.
Yes.
Because
going to the edge.
Yeah, going to the edge and making people, hopefully maybe they're attracted to that.
They appreciate the effort, that's for sure.
Yeah. And now, I've split my head open before. I've had concussions. I've had a lot of damages I've done, and, quit drinking 20 years ago because I was going to die. I would drink to excess. I never once drank without drinking to excess. The very first time I drank, it was a Coors Buzz Bomb, those bottles, those quarts, and I drank it, and then everybody was just sitting at a drive-in theater in Palm Springs, and I was the guy who then stood up after I finished the beer, and I threw it as high as I could throw it in the air, and it dropped down and it just broke, and there was glass shattered everywhere, and we were all, in the desert barefoot.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. And they're like, "Why would you do that?" And I go, "I don't know." My friends knew how much I loved the sound of breaking glass because it has this musical tone that's like, cling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Like when the glass breaks, when you hear glass break over and over, it's so cool because it's like its own symphony. And so for my birthday one year, my roommate said, "What would you like for your birthday?" And I said, "As many empty bottles as you could get me." And I knocked a hole in our kitchen wall so I could put the neck of the bottle through the hole. And I stood back at the other end of the kitchen. I would just throw the bottles, and there was glass everywhere in our college apartment. I'm talking like hundreds of bottles that we could never get rid of all the glass, and our feet were always cut. And then I said, "Get me cans of spray paint." And I spray painted the Clash on the wall because I wanted it to be dripping down, like the Clash in black letters, because I loved Joe Strummer. And little did I know I would meet him later in life, Yet back then, I just loved, Joe Strummer. I loved his voice. I loved his ethos. I loved his attitude.
Sounds like a great party.
I guess it was.
Okay, you're leading me to a topic I want to talk about, storytelling. Within a lot of your songs, there are great stories, but also on stage, you are a master storyteller. You just told a pretty good story right there. Talk about the place of storytelling in your creative life. I just want to say you have a knack for storytelling where you bring us along in a story that sounds crazy, but it is so detailed and personal that we're believing you all along the way in your story. And as it progresses, it gets stranger and wilder. And at some point, I'm like, okay, that's nuts. You have someone's prosthetic eyeball in your pocket. And I know that maybe that's a good story. But at some point, I'm like, maybe this didn't actually happen the way he said, but it's this gift you have for bringing us along with you as a believable thing. And then this insane thing happens. So talk about storytelling, its place in your life and its place in your creative life.
I don't even know where it came from, and I really believe it was a survival skill. And what I mean by that is I used to get picked on a lot because I was skinny and asthmatic and I stuttered and what have you. And then I'm going to sound like Liam Neeson really quick. I developed a certain particular set of skills. And so I have this set of skills, and it was survival. And what it was I had to talk my way out of situations of getting my ass kicked and sort of like, look at that squirrel over there. And I learned how to keep the attention
And then also playing in these shitty beach bars when I first started and trying to get the bar to shut up and listen to me. So then that was where the nudity came in, the over the top, just going nuts. Like just seeing how crazy I could get on stage, breaking eggs over my head. Everything I can do, putting a parrot in my shirt.
Supposedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And so storytelling sort of became part and parcel for who I was. And then I had an event happen to me. And the event was I got out of the water surfing in San Diego, and there was a party. And this guy had made all these brownies for the party, but I didn't know they were dosed with weed. And this is back in the 80s. And I got out of the water surfing, and the brownies were just laid out on the table with the other food getting ready. And I was starving. So I ate 3 of these really big brownies. And then I went in the shower, and my friend said, Where
are all the
what happened to
brownies?
those brownies? And I go, I ate them. He goes, no, you didn't, did you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh my God. I go, what? He goes, they're loaded with weed. Like, how much did you eat? And I told him, he goes, oh. And I'm telling you, Mike, I went insane. And I know I did. And I got so scared. I was just seeing crazy stuff. And then my mind got so paranoid. And I started crying. And I was begging them to take me to the hospital because I'd gone insane. And they were going to. And I was freaking out the whole party. I was the guy at the party crying. Like talk about like Debbie Downer, just bringing everybody down who just wanted to eat some pot brownies and have fun. And I'm crying in the corner thinking I've gone mad. And then we were on the beach. That was what it was. We were on the beach outside because I lived right on the ocean in a beach called Windansea. And Windansea is all one word, Windansea, Windansea. It's a famous surf break, very localized, where there's surf gangs that fight over the wave and all that. And so I lived right on the break at Windansea at the Pump House, which is Pump House Gang by Tom Wolfe.
Yes.
And he followed these surfers around. So somebody said, get him a guitar. So somebody brought a guitar down to the beach, one of my guitars. They went up to my apartment, brought a guitar to me and handed me it. I proceeded to play a 3-hour show of songs that never existed and I'll never hear again, that I just made up.
On the fly.
I'd lived a comedy show. And it was, I wish we'd had iPhones back then, but I'm glad we didn't. Because in my mind,
it was greatest
one of the
thing
greatest
ever.
shows I've ever played. And there were like 40 people riveted for like 3 hours during this show of songs that never existed.
And it cured you.
Cured me. And the love from the audience cured me. And it made me forget I'd gone insane. And then I started coming down from the weed. Took a few hours. And I learned a lesson, and the lesson was I wasn't using all my brain and I wasn't letting my freak flag fly. Now, having said that, it took a long time to be able to reach that level because I knew it was within me, but I didn't know how to get there again because then the voice was back in my head saying, no, those people hate you. This isn't good. This isn't working. And now I'm at the point where I don't really give a shit if I blow it because mistakes are beautiful and the mistakes give me energy and the mistakes are a drug. And so I've learned to go, hey, this is for me. So anyways, that's where storytelling came in. Getting back to your question is I was telling stories and I was making them funny. And so what I also learned along the way
And you felt the audience coming with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take them on a journey. Yeah. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. It's entertainment. There's nothing worse than telling a story with somebody you were with and you go, oh man, then we stopped in and we were on this Indian reservation. It wasn't that. And your friend says that. Oh no, it was, and I go, and we met this guy named Jim. No, his name was John. I'm like, dude, shut up. What does it matter? You're like totally cock blocking me on this story. Let me tell the story, give twists and turns and lie in the story too. Like you got to tell some lies and it's going to have a kernel of truth because the kernel of truth is what makes it so cool.
Okay. So I'm going to reference your song Wrong Town here because when I listened to that song, I was like, oh, this has all of the things in it that I want to talk to Steve about. And in this song, you're kind of on stage talking about yourself and the show you're about to give. That's the premise of the song. So you're talking about yourself here. And you say, I lie on stage, I lie in songs, I lay my troubles down. So you do tell these stories, and that's a reference to that, right? You also mention in the song, and this is something I want to get to, and you talk about things that have happened to you. You had a stroke on stage once, right?
Yeah.
A long time ago. We don't have time to get into that whole story.
It's a whole
That's a whole story. I encourage people to listen to one of your other interviews where you talk about it because it is crazy. But the Grateful Dead aspect, I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
You reference that in this other song where you say I'm a post-stroke deadhead or something like that, right?
Yeah. Do I say that in that
In
song?
that song.
Wrong Town, yeah.
Yes, you say a lot of words in the song, so I'm not surprised you don't remember. But before the stroke, not so much a Grateful Dead fan. After the stroke, Grateful Dead fan, which is fascinating. Given that,
It's like awakenings.
yes, yeah, exactly. You should be in one of those Oliver Sacks books or something, right? But given that change in your musical brain, which is of course fascinating, did you notice any changes in your songwriting post-stroke? Do you think, or your process?
That's a good question. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I can only honest answer is I don't know. All I do know is prior to the stroke, I used to mock the Dead. Like,
Oh, it was that kind of
I
a
didn't
change.
hate them,
Yeah.
but I liked punk rock, and
Yeah.
I liked punk rock like the Dead Milkmen, and I liked smart ass music that just took the piss out of stuff. But something happened after the stroke where I heard the song Ripple in this guy's car, and I started crying. And there was something so beautiful in the lyric of Ripple and the vibe of it. And then I was like, I want to hear another Grateful Dead song. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. And what really spoke to me is Jerry's voice. He was the Dead to me. Like, his voice is so soulful, and Robert Hunter lyrics and Jerry's music was a perfect melding of, it's just gorgeous. And then you get into these mythical live shows. They're not mythical because they happen, but these shows that people talk about, like, oh,
Yes.
like
Montreal 73.
yeah, yes.
Well, I played a lot of shows across this world, but tonight's the best I'll ever play. I'm handing you a pearl. My G-string might snap in two. My face might turn from red to white to blue. But it's not because I'm dying, hey, I'm just patriotic. Well, we all connect like Legos, yeah, we all are symbiotic. I die on stage, I die in songs, I throw my troubles down. Hey, stick it out with me, kid, I mean, what else is there to do? And this craft beer make an earthquake shake in town. Yeah, you bought the tickets, you paid the cash, you got in the car, you moved your ass. You brought a friend or an awkward date to something you love that they're definitely gonna hate. It's music, sweet music. I'm emo, I'm screamo, I'm Grateful Dead, post-stroke, Americana if you wanna. I'm old-fashioned, but I'm broke. I'm everything to everyone. I'm Jesus and I'm Buddha too, don't panic. I'm organic, I'm too scared to be satanic. But mostly I'm just here to sing for you.
Once again, people should hear you tell that story about the stroke because, I mean, God bless you for being healthy and coming through it, and you look like $1 million. So, but the story itself is fascinating. Yes, I want to talk about your lyrics. You are an amazing lyricist. Your rhyming is unmatched. You could be a very, I think, successful rapper if you really wanted to be. I'm sure you've probably thought about that. But I want to use this example of your song, Let's Stay Together. It's a love song, and in the song, you're meeting a girl's father for the first time in this verse. So here's the line. He had a shotgun sitting right there between his legs. He said, go get me some whiskey, some weed, and a dozen eggs. Now, this to me is typical of your lyric style in the sense that you have these great rhymes, but they're rhyming words that people wouldn't think to put in a song about that topic. So here's a song about meeting this young woman's father for the first time, and you come up with a rhyme that uses the word eggs. Most people wouldn't think, how am I going to get eggs into this story? So do you feel like you're
by allowing yourself to bring these absurdities into the songs, you're kind of freeing up yourself to use this language and these lines that you might not otherwise be able to put in there. If you know where I'm going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what I alluded to earlier in that learn other people's songs. Because when I heard Roger Miller say, they say roses are red, violets are purple, sugar's sweet, and so is maple syrup. I'm the seventh of the seventh son. My daddy was a pistol. I'm a son of a gun. I said, dang me, they ought to take a rope and hang me high from the highest tree. Woman, would you weep for me? I mean, come on. Roses are red, violets are purple. Sugar's sweet, and so is maple syrup. Or the other thing he did, you can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. What does that even mean? Our England swings like a pendulum do. Bobby's on bicycle. And today I did a Roger Miller song. I did oodalolly, golly, what a day. I mean, Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other end has to say, reminiscing this and that, reminiscing this. Check that out. Reminiscing this, reminiscing. That's an inside rhyme. Reminiscing this and that and having such a good time. Oodalolly, golly, what a day.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. If you go to the school and study at the school of Roger Miller, it's going to really be an elective course I recommend you take. Take a Roger Miller course, meaning you give
Just
yourself
listen
the
to
course
his stuff
and learn his songs. Don't just listen to it once. Sit down and go, I'm going to learn this, because something happens on the way when you learn it. You're going to take a week to learn that song and memorize it, and you're going to play it 100 times. And after you do it, it's going to become, through osmosis, natural, where you hear reminiscing this and that and having and you may, somewhere along the way, you're going to use some rhyme and you're not even going to know where it came from, but you will steal some idea from it. And that's what this is all about. It's all stealing.
But you're giving yourself permission to use the word, like circle, or bring in a reference that doesn't necessarily belong in the song and make it work.
Yeah, because and he had a shotgun sitting there right between his legs. I had that. He said, go out and give me some whiskey, some weed, and a dozen eggs. Like, why? Just because you get to say, the dad's got a shotgun. Go get me whiskey, weed, and a dozen eggs.
And it works so well, but not many people would have
Let's
come
stay
up with
together.
Well, the first time that I saw you, you were on your couch and you were leaning back. Maybe late for a plane or late for a train or maybe a heart attack. You had a wild streak in your eyes. Man, I loved your guts. I knew I'd follow you anywhere. No ifs, ands, or buts. And the second time that I saw you, I wanted you so bad, but I had to get permission from your mother, then go upstairs and ask your dad. And he had a shotgun sitting there right between his legs. He said, go out and get me some whiskey, some weed, and a dozen eggs. Let's stay together like birds of a feather.
Well, I wrote that with my friend Anthony DaCosta.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
A genius.
Yeah.
And what I love about writing with Anthony is anything goes.
He's very funny also.
Very funny. And there's people that I've written with that they're not playful, and it's not fun for me, and I just don't want to write with them because it's not fun. If it's not fun, I don't even want to do it because I don't even know how much longer I'm going to be alive. I don't want to sit down and have a proper Nashville co-write where we're trying to write a hit. That's cool if people want to do that. I think that's great. I want to write some quirky, weird song that I'm going to play. I don't care about a hit.
Yeah.
I want to write something that makes me go, wow, I can't wait to play this live.
I did want to ask you about that because you've written for a lot of people, Molly Tuttle, Billy Strings, all these people, Nashville co-writes, but you also play the songs yourself that other people are recording that you've written, right?
Yeah, I'm only going to play if it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like today I did this new song I have out with Andy Frasco and Billy Strings.
I was going to ask you about
called
that.
Life
Yes.
is Easy.
Yeah. Where you said, how did you write the song? And you said something, how do you want to write the song? Well, let's just go from G to A to C and I'll start writing words.
Yeah.
That was described your process.
Yeah, G-A-C. bum, 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 you know, because you're going G to the A and it climbs up and then to the C. So it's like the water is poisonous, the government's treasonous. And I love it that we have those 3-syllable words, poisonous, treasonous. So it's like the water is poisonous, the government's treasonous, and then take a fact and be like conspiracy theorists. There's chemtrails in the sky and we're all breathing it. And then things you always hear, the border is porous, the billionaires bore us, they're burning down the trees to build a new forest. I mean, that's so fun for me. That's an example of all those kind of inside rhymes. Yes. But without knowing I'm doing it, I'm not doing it scientifically. It's just
ask you, how hard are you editing, rewriting, or are these
it's
just
a
coming
natural
to you?
instinct. Yeah. And then the crabs, I always want to say this in the song, that's the chorus. Well, the crabs in the pot will try to pull you down, because it's a whole saying that crabs are in the water, it starts boiling. And if one's going to get out, they pull them back down because they don't want you to succeed. It's almost like they call it the tall poppy syndrome. Do you know what that is? It's a thing like in Australia, they talk about in Ireland. If you get too big for your britches, your own people are going to cut you back down. Tall poppy syndrome.
Gets cut down, yes.
And so the crabs in the pot will try to pull you down, and the folks you thought were friends will start to bum you out. But the gears all work together if they're greasy, and if you let it be, life is easy.
So this is a new single that just came out. And say again, this is an all-star cast involved.
Me,
in this
Daniel
song.
Donato, Mike Gordon from Fish, Billy Strings, and Andy Frasco in the UN.
It's quite a lineup.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Steve, I've taken a lot of your time. I think that's a good place to finish. People should go listen to that new single of yours.
Yeah.
They should go see you play. I mean, I'm going to say this in introduction about going to see a Steve Poltz show.
I can't wait for tomorrow. I get to do it again.
You get to do it again. And I'm going to go
There'll
see
be
you
all
again.
different songs.
Yes. It'll be right over there on the Potomac stage here at DelFest.
Yeah. I can't believe it that we're already done. That was fun.
Wasn't that fun? Thanks,
Yeah.
Steve, for taking the time.
Thank you.
Tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you